Hello, welcome back. Where do we start with this one? So I read a book, a novella, called The Testament of Mary, and it follows Mary, the mother of Christ, after the crucifixion. So you have her living with his followers as they try and write stuff, basically, and they come and visit, they give her food, they look after her. On the other side of it, she hates them all. She really hates them, and there is no way around that. Her dislike for most of his followers is quite funny. And you have this feisty woman who is mourning the loss of her husband, mourning the loss of her son. She's mourning the loss of so much. From my own personal experience, the mourning in this book felt very real. It was when my late grandmother lost her husband. It felt very real. It was very much an echo of that. With this, you have Mary in this book is kick-ass. She's strong, she's feisty, she doesn't give two flying hoots. There's a moment where someone goes to sit in her husband's chair, and that is quite an emotive and powerful scene. It's been turned into a play, and the novella is, I think it was like 120 pages, give or take, on my Kindle, when that's with a font reasonably big. I read it in an afternoon. It's a phenomenal little read, and most people, this book seems to be off a lot of people's radars for some reason. It's a real shame. It's been out a few years, and it's unusual for a book from a standpoint of these events that does it in such an eloquent way. In this one, he wasn't the son of God, he is just her son. She got married, she had a son, and that's it. And you have this very strong female character, and it's interesting because in a lot of books, the feminist or feminism or any social message is, I think people are very used to kind of a forced narrative where everything is kind of forced on you and it's done in such a clumsy way, where with this, it's not, it's subtle. This is a woman who has been through hell and she has come out the other side, and she'll give you hell if you cross her. And you just have this very interesting moment. It's predominantly just her thinking, the flashbacks, her life, moments with her son going to synagogue, moments in life that just connect to our own lives, you know, those moments where we think back on someone, those events with people we've lost and memories. And then you have, you know, she witnesses her son's death and those stories and how she feels and what's happening and when she has to run. This is a phenomenal book. And I sat there and I was kind of in awe of it because it was so beautifully done. I've never read this writer's work before. And to go in there, this is a second read through for me. By the way, I read it once ages ago and I thought I would refresh. But you have this story of these characters, of these moments, of this stuff that makes us who we are. And it felt real. It was not a clumsy book. It was not a haphazard book. It was not a in-your-face book. This book was subtle. It was eloquent. It was beautifully written and it was charming. I think the discussion that this book leaves is the narrative of grief and how we deal with it and how we reference the things that deal with the stuff that we deal with, from fear to loathing to running away to not wanting to deal with it. She faces it head on and she's sad and she's dealing with it, and she's, again, it's just a beautiful, eloquent, pretty novel that kind of took me by surprise. I was not expecting a book like this. I was not expecting to sit down and read this little novella and come out of it thinking what I'm thinking, and I wasn't going to do a video about it, but there it is. That is the brilliant Testament of Mary. Please read this book. I've put links in the doobly-doo if you guys are interested in buying this book, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.